Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here today for this really special life coaching session brought to you by life and health insurer Vitality and me, Jacqueline Hurst. I've no doubt that most of you are here today because for many of us, the last few months have prompted us all to take a long, hard look at our lives. I'm sure, like me, at some point the pandemic has given you time to consider what and who is really important in your life. Perhaps it's also made you think about your future and what that might look like. And perhaps also it's made you think about how you're living your life now and if you're living it in a way that helps you to protect you and enhance what's important. Now, these are big questions to consider, right? And contemplating them can feel overwhelming too. Never mind doing so in the middle of a global pandemic. But during times of intense change, mental, physical, and emotional stress and uncertainty, my experience as a life coach has consistently shown me that people can either give in to these feelings and let life take a backseat, or they can use this as a beautiful opportunity to fuel personal and professional growth. The great pause, as I like to call it, has given us all a chance to hit the reset button on our physical, emotional, financial health and wellness. This is why I'm here for you today with the team at Vitality Life to help you to navigate all of these feelings and to help you build up your resilience so that you can face the future weeks and months ahead with some sense of clarity, purpose, and clear direction. For those of you who may not be familiar with Vitality Life, they're an insurance company that take a different approach to insurance in that they understand our human need to protect the things in life that we care about the most. Our health, lives, income, homes, and family. It's like everything. They also care deeply about not just protecting, but enhancing lives. And this means that their approach to their members is to reward and encourage them when they live a life that is active and healthy, which I love. This is because Vitality know from scientific research that this helps their members to live their best, happiest life and protect what matters most in the long term. The aim of my session today is to help each of you to create the changes you want to see in your lives and install your own long-term healthy habits too, so that you get started effortlessly with a strong, resilient mind, very important, whether the next months and year come and go as they're going to, whatever happens, we're going to do this. I'm going to teach you how to do this with, as I said, this resilient mind, strong mindset, and boom, off you go. Now, before we get started, make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen with you to take notes. And also do feel free to ask me questions in the comments below as we go along, and I'll reply at the end of the session. Finally, I really want to stress that I'm not here to tell you what is right or wrong today. There is no judgment here. This session is really about building you up and giving you confidence to learn how to become your very best self so that you create a life that you want by focusing on what's important to you and by learning how, very important, the how, to make the change. First, I want to just give you a little rundown about me and my life. So my name is Jacqueline Hurst and I'm a master life coach. And I've been working coaching for over 16 years, privately, one-to-one, and with amazing brands like Vitality. I've worked with over 6,000 clients personally, and I also have a school online teaching people how to live a life they love via my short courses. And I have a course training people to become a life coach. I'm also GQ's resident life coach, so I write for them. And I spend my life helping people ultimately become the best they can be via learning how to control and manage their mind and in turn get the results that they want. Now, you might want to know how I got into this. This is always the question that most people ask. I get asked this a lot. And I'm just going to tell you straight out, when I was 15, I took all the wrong paths in life. I started young. I got heavily into drugs and alcohol. I suffered with depression and anxiety and anorexia and basically anything I could do to take myself away from myself. So I went down this path for 10 years. And at 25, I decided enough was enough and I needed to change my life around. And that's exactly what I did. So I decided that life was meant to be so much more than addictions, unhealthy living, and ultimately misery. So I changed my life on a day in August, and I put down all of my addictions. I worked really hard on understanding myself and my mind, and I went through a lot. And as I was doing that, more and more people started to come to me for advice and help on how to get better, because I was getting better quite quickly. So it started to become really obvious to me that I needed to start giving back, and soon I started my business. So I started coaching lots of people, and I didn't really know, how to do it. I just thought, I'm just going to try. And at that time, people didn't really know what coaching was. There was quite a lot of negativity around that, but typical my style, I pushed on anyway. And within 6 months, the Sunday Times did an article on me, which was amazing. And I knew that I was on the right path. So that's a little bit about me, and I hope that that helps to ultimately ease your mind about the advice that I want to share with you today. So on this note, guys and girls, let's get into it. Vitality and I want to talk to you guys today about taking stock and taking action by making changes to the way we live our lives so that we protect our future. For now, I want you to take a long, deep breath for a second. Just allow yourself to literally drop your shoulders. And let me start with one of my favorite quotes. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, and you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Dr. Seuss. So today, we're asking you to take the pledge, to change one thing, big or small, which will take you a step closer to the life that you want. Now, this can be anything you desire, whether that's to spend more time with your family, achieve a career milestone, buy or move home, save a certain amount of money maybe, travel when we're allowed, or anything you think will make you truly happy and bring you closer to a more fulfilled life. So now let's continue on helping you make this pledge a reality. Today we're going to break this down into 3 mindsets. The power of optimism, number 1. The spirit of resilience, very important, number 2. And number 3 is going to be the gift of gratitude. So let's start today with the power of optimism. What is it? Optimism is hopefulness and confidence about the future or the success of something. I'll start with a story. So Walt Disney was fired from his first job because he lacked imagination and he had no good ideas. This is what he's apparently was told. But he had self-belief, and he went on to create the biggest entertainment empire the world had ever seen, despite being rejected, this is true, 302 times before he found a bank to support him in building Disney World. And it's his ideas and imagination that live on today as part of our culture, which is pretty amazing. I always say choose optimism because it feels better. I want to get you feeling hopeful and confident about achieving your pledge, and that is ultimately why they hired me. So to get your desired result, there's only one thing you need, and it starts and ends with your mindset, your mindset, your mindset. I'm a really big believer that everything is about mindset. If you think you can, you will, and if you think you can't, you won't. Because ultimately, I believe that making a change is up to you. Making any change can feel big and scary and worrisome, but I'm here to let you know that it's totally possible to not have those feelings, because once we learn how to utilize the power of our minds, we can literally move mountains. It's all in your mind. So let's start here. So many of us are going about our days completely unconscious as to what we're really doing or thinking. And in turn, we're really unconscious as to the impact of what we're thinking and doing in our health and our lives. Do you know that we have somewhere between 40 and 60,000 thoughts a day, which is really a lot of internal noise, like it's yabbering on all day long. Many of those thoughts are the same thought repeated throughout the day, so we can literally be like a broken record in our heads. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And most of the time, our thoughts are really negative. Now, we're on a spiral of the same negative thinking, And these negative thoughts are frequently enhanced by external factors such as the media or maybe friends or family. So really what I want you to start doing is I want you to start to think about your thought process. Because in order to make a change, we really have to think differently. This is a really important thing I'm about to say here, guys. What you think ultimately generates how you feel. And how you feel generates your actions. In other words, what you do or don't do. So it all starts in the mind. So as we're here today to talk about taking a pledge, which is ultimately an action, the best way to get this done starts with your mind. Optimism. Let me tell you a little story here. Sheryl Sandberg, who publicly went through the death of her husband whilst remaining one of the most inspirational female leaders of our time, once said this: "We can't change what we're not aware of, and once we're aware, we cannot help but change." And I want to say I completely agree with what she said there. It's about awareness. Awareness is key. So let's say you have already decided what you want to pledge to change. And let's say it's to stop smoking or to drink a little bit less, but your thoughts are really negative. Maybe it'll be something like, "This is going to be so hard," or "I'm never going to be able to do this," or something like, "Well, that's my social life over with then." My reasoning with these negative thoughts is if you have those negative thoughts, I'm going to say to you, you're not really going to get too far with your pledge. Now, we want you to turn your intentions into actions. So for me, I want to say to you, there is really no room from here on, today, now, there's no room for negative thinking. I want you to get into the habit of reframing your thoughts. So let's look at how we do this one by one. Let's say you were going to be thinking, "This is going to be so hard." You could turn that thought around to something like, "I can do anything one day at a time," which is a truth. You could be saying a negative thought like, "I'm never going to be able to do this." And you can turn that around to, "I am totally capable of doing this alongside so many other people. And in fact, maybe having all these other people spurs me on. So maybe now is the time for me to do this." Or you might have a thought which says something like, "What's the point in me trying to do this pledge? I've failed with this thing so many times." And you could turn that around to, "Failed attempts were important for me to get where I am today. And now, with all of those failed attempts in the past, they've taught me what I need to know so that now I can pass this test and I can win and I can succeed." This is all about reframing your mind. Now, I just want to give you a little note on failure. If you have ever tried your pledge before and failed, I want you to think about a Wimbledon championship person, maybe somebody like Serena Williams. Now, she's had to fail to learn, to improve, and to succeed. Guys, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. So remember, if you're looking for that one person who can really change your life, take a look in the mirror, because you, that person in the mirror, has all the power to make that change and to make that change today. So here's a little recap of what I've spoken about so far. Number one, write down what you're thinking. There is a real power in pen and paper. Become aware. Number two, ask yourself if the thoughts that you're choosing are working for you or against you. In other words, does the thoughts that you have make you feel good, or does the thought that you have make you feel negative, maybe feelings like angry or despondent or frustrated or annoyed? Number three, if the thought makes you feel good, ask yourself what actions that you're going to take, with this amazing thought in your mind. Ask yourself what actions you will take to get the results that you want, and boom, you guys are winning. Now, number four, if the thought that you have chosen doesn't feel good, I want you to start challenging yourself on this, because this is the space where change really happens. You literally have to catch that negative thought that you're thinking and choose to change your perspective on this, because this right here is where the change happens. So number 5, ask yourself, would I say that thought to somebody I loved or to a child? And it becomes quite clear that when you see it that way, you would never say that to someone else, in which case it's not really okay for you to say that to you. Number 6, are these thoughts helping me get closer to the goal, to my pledge, or are they taking me further away? Number 7, ask yourself if you want to be strong enough to do it differently. Such a good question to ask yourself. Do I want to be strong enough to do this differently? And number 8, decide that you are stronger than that negative thought. If it helps, talk to a friend, take a long walk, take a hot bath, maybe do a little meditation, and go back to the thinking. Sometimes just a 5-minute break will really help you reset and find your optimism again. You see, we always have a choice. Seriously, I'm going to say that again because it's so important. We always have a choice. Think about your thinking. Remind yourself, I've got a choice of what I think here. Remember, what we're not changing, we are actually choosing. And this is not just about positive thinking. This is about choosing to have a resilient, strong mindset to get you started and to ultimately complete your pledge. Next up, I want to talk to you guys about the spirit of resilience, which is one of my favorite words. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or anything tough. Now, resilience means knowing how to cope in spite of setbacks or barriers or limited resources. Resilience is a measure of how much you want something and how much you are willing and able to overcome obstacles to get it. Now, one of my favorite examples of resilience is a well-known lady called Oprah Winfrey. She's such an amazing story of triumph over adversity due to her resilience. Now, you guys will know her as one of the world's most famous talk show hosts, but behind the scenes, Oprah has had a really tough start in life. She was born in 1954 to a single mum who left her to be raised by her grandmother, and her grandmother had really harsh, strict punishment practices, which Oprah's talked about before. And at 9 years old, Oprah was sexually assaulted by a relative, and she tried to run away from home, but she got told that she would have to go into a juvenile detention. You know, she went through life, she suffered more abuse, which led her to losing a child. And after that, she went to Nashville to go and live with her father, who wanted to help her start to change her life. And at that point, she started to really flourish, and she became an honor student. And then her journey really started to begin. Now, I could talk to you about Oprah for hours because her resilience is mind-blowing. But the most important thing to know is that she is a really good example of strength and resilience, and she lives by an amazing motto which says, if I can do it, so can you. Now, resilience is about your mental strength, and resilience comes, guess where, guys, from your thinking. So, and finally, I want you to remember that your thinking is so important here because your thoughts are ultimately what generates that resilience. Finally, I want to talk to you about the gift of gratitude. This is the third and final part of our life coaching session today. Gratitude, another fantastic word. Guys, do you know that it's impossible to be miserable and grateful at the same time? Just take a second to think about that. You literally can't be miserable and grateful at the same time. Gratitude is literally the best healer in the world and the most fundamental part of a really happy life. You see, the thing is this, if you're not grateful right now with who you are and the life that you live and what you have and what you've achieved, the chances are when you do reach the next big thing, you're still going to be unhappy. If you look around you now, there was literally a time when you probably really wanted what you have now. And so I want to remind you to never forget how far you've come. This is an example of gratitude. Now let's take a look at the benefits of gratitude. This is important. So in 2018, the Greater Good Science Centre created a white paper titled The Science of Gratitude, which told us these things about gratitude. First of all, it increases happiness and a positive mood. We all want that. It increases our satisfaction with life. We become less materialistic. We are less likely to experience burnout, very important. We experience better physical health, better sleep, and less fatigue. We build greater resilience. It encourages the development of patience, humility, and wisdom. I mean, all of those things are really important, right? So I want to now share with you 10 ways to practice gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal and add to it every single day. That's a really powerful tool in your journey to think of one thing every day that you can note down that you're really grateful for. Next, tell somebody that you appreciate them and you love them every single day. It's such a lovely thing that's like a pay it forward. Next, when you think a negative thought, try to see the positive side in the situation. This is a big one, guys, because our brain is going to say, I can't see anything positive here. But again, you've got a strong mind. So if you choose to challenge yourself, you're going to really see yourself grow. Okay, my next one. Smile more often. Honestly, the more you smile, the better you feel. The next one is to embrace challenges and to turn them into opportunities to grow. The next one is to notice the beauty in nature each day. The next one is to notice the beauty in nature. The next one is to notice the beauty in nature each day. Getting into nature, guys, is so important. I try to do that myself, even if it's just 10 minutes, but just to literally ground, on some beautiful grass, take my shoes and socks off sometimes when everything is really busy, and just ground yourself and just take it in, be present in the moment. My next tip is to nurture the friendships that you have, because good friends don't come along every day. So if you've got, five friends, you're a really lucky person, and nurture that. Next, I want you to think about where someone has shown you kindness in your life each day, and I want you to be grateful for that, because that's a lovely thing to happen. Another thing you can do is watch really inspiring videos, or listen to podcasts that will remind you of the good in the world. There's so much positivity out there, guys. Remember, it's all about what you look for. And also, I'm going to say to you, avoid negative media or, anything negative with destructive content. Like, you don't have to feed your brain with that. So we're going to quickly take a stop for a minute, just for a moment, to do a quick exercise. If you've still got that piece of paper in front of you, I hope you do. In the next couple of minutes, I want you to do this. Name 3 things that you are really grateful for. Name 3 experiences that you are really grateful for. Name 3 people that you are really grateful to have in your life. Name 3 life lessons that you're really grateful for. Now, once you've answered these questions, it will help you see how gratitude takes you away from misery and negativity, and it makes you feel good. Now, if you're feeling really brave, comment with some of these in the comment box below. I would love to see them. So we've spoken about the power of optimism, the spirit of resilience, and that wonderful gift of gratitude. And now, to end today's coaching session, I want to give you 5 really easy tips to help you stay focused on your life pledge. Now, guys, remember, this is your pledge, okay? So this is all about you. And make this life pledge something that really matters to you in prolonging your amazing, beautiful, miraculous life, and something that doesn't include the needs of anyone else or something you feel that you, in quotes, should care about. It really needs to be genuine from your heart and authentic to you. Boundaries. Now, they're required and very imperative. Whatever your pledge, make sure that you have strong boundaries around it. And if you're choosing to stop smoking or drinking or plan to work out a little bit more, make sure that your pledge has boundaries. So important. Now, a practical example here, would be something like, I'm not drinking during the week. So when you do go out on a Wednesday to meet your friends, be sure to stick to your boundary and not allow anybody to twist your arm or forsake your goal, just to keep your friends happy. Oh, I'll have a glass of wine just to keep everyone happy. Please, guys, don't be doing that. Boundaries are really important. And once you've created boundaries, the confidence starts to flow and your pledge becomes easier and easier. Imagine making your pledge, you stick to your boundaries, and someone says, come on, have a drink, and you say, look, really, it's really nice of you to offer, but no thank you, I've made my pledge. The more you do that, the stronger you get, and it just becomes, better and better for you. It actually builds confidence. And lastly, get on the no train. It is important to learn how to say this tiny little word, which has so much power. And thirdly, get on the no train. It is important to learn how to say this tiny little but hugely important word. That's Marie Folio. She said that. Get on the no train. It's so clever. Learning to say no can really make or break your pledge. So guys, stay strong. A lot of people associate no with being mean or selfish, but I want you to banish that mindset. Practice to say no with grace and kindness. No doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're selfish. It actually means that you are practicing self-care. That word no, guys, is vital for your health. I also want to say, be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself really, really matters. And we don't really talk about this very much. We certainly don't think about this very much, but it's an imperative part of taking care of yourself. So whatever your pledge, just be kind and gentle with yourself. Remember that what you think you become, and it's really, really important. So if you look at yourself in the mirror and think, oh, I'm such a state, or negative things, that's going to set you up for the day, and that's really unkind. So remember, catch the thinking, awareness, consciousness, and reframe it. So I'm doing my best, I'm human, I'm healthy, and I'm becoming healthier with my new pledge. So day by day, I am increasing my vitality and my energy levels, and that's a really good goal. I'm on the way. And think about that. Think about being kind and gentle with what you say to yourself and how you treat yourself. Guys, I always want to say this too, which is important. Be mindful and be present in your moment. Remember to be fully conscious of what you're thinking. It's really important to be present in your moment and just be aware. Sometimes we just need to slow it down. So a concluding note before we get into questions, which I'm really looking forward to answering, by the way, I just want to say something which is really important. Never, ever, ever underestimate your power. Never underestimate it. Your mind is so powerful, guys. It's the most important part of your whole body. Now, both Vitality and I are really excited that you want to turn your intentions into actions. And we really hope today has inspired you to take the pledge and to change just one thing, big or small, getting you one step closer to the life that you want. And remember that whatever life you choose, Vitality's pledge is to protect what matters to you. So if you'd like to know more about how their life insurance offering can help you secure the future that you want, I'm going to include their link to the website in the comments too. So if you want to know more about how to get strong and resilient thinking, you can see me privately. Jacqueline Hurst is my website, www.jacquelinehurst.com. Or of course, you can take a short course of mine at the Life Class, which is www.thelifeclass.com. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for listening, and I really hope that you found some of these tips suitable to use in your life. Even if you've just taken one tip from this talk that you have found useful, I'm happy with that. So now, guys, we're going to get into questions. Now, if you haven't already, please enter yours into the comments section below, and I'm going to answer them directly after the session. but I'm going to start with a few of the questions that we gathered ahead of this session. So let's have a look. Okay, the first question is, the future is really uncertain. How can I decide what life changes I want to make when I don't know what tomorrow will look like? Okay, first I want to say this is a great question. It really is. And I want to share with you that none of us know what tomorrow is going to look like. Like, none of us know. We don't even know what 5 minutes away is going to look like. And this is why it is so important to start to learn to live in the now, right? To be really present in the moment and to make changes. You know, you don't have to think about the future and 10 years down the road. You just need to think about what you want to do today to help you get one step closer to your goal. So take a moment to really think about what you want for you and the life changes that you want to make, which will intuitively come to you. And I just want to say, guys, a really good quote here is just for today. You know, you can do anything just for today. And if we just focus on one day at a time, you know, the time passes and we can look back and be like, wow, I remember that. So yeah, just take it gentle and slow on yourself and be kind to yourself in your mind and just be present. Okay, so the next question is, it's one thing to make life changes, but how can I do so when I'm worried about having the money to do the things I like? Okay, this is another really good question. Now, I have to say this here, that there is a saying that says the best things in life are free. So that's just a little reminder that life can give you so many beautiful gifts which literally cost nothing. For example, good health, which is massive, and it's a gift. You know, it's one of the best gifts that you could give to yourself. So that's an important thing, you know, to think about. Things like connection with friends, you know, things like this which are really, really important and they're free. You know, finding new things to enjoy is, I would say, the answer to this problem, right? So you can stay focused on the negative, like I haven't got enough money to do the cinema anymore, this is really depressing, or you can reframe that thinking and you can go to something like, okay, what can I do with what I have? Maybe I could pop round to my friend's house and we can watch something on, you know, Netflix. Maybe they've got a subscription and I can pop over there. I can pick up the popcorn. I could definitely do that. And I'll go over there and I'll watch it. You know, maybe I'll do that once a week. And that way I am watching a movie and I'm watching it with a friend. So this is like a double whammy and it could be even better than just sitting in the cinema. My point here, guys, is I want you to reframe to a more positive thought. You really can do this. You know, if you're worried about money being an issue, you know, in your future, one way to combat that is to think about protecting your future with life insurance, you know, and Vitality do understand that, you know, that we can run into problems in our lives that require spending, you know, we haven't anticipated for. And life insurance is about more than just protecting against, you know, the loss of life, but Vitality's offering also covers unexpected costs, including those, you know, for serious illnesses, changes to your career, protecting your mortgage and your child's education, whatever your priority, you know, they're there to help you and protect what matters most to you. So I'll leave more details, you know, on their life insurance offer in the comment box below as well. Okay, so on to the next question. So the next question says, I have trouble sticking to things I decided I wanted to spend less time working and more time with my family, but I keep ending up staying late at work. How do I stick to it? I love these questions, guys. Honestly, I'm really happy we've got such good questions here. So the answer to this question is boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Okay, if you want to spend more time with your family and you find that you're not doing that, you're not going to like this, but the only one who's responsible for that is you. Okay, it's your responsibility to get tougher with yourself. So, you know, it is time to get really clear on boundaries and to get tougher on yourself, and maybe, you know, put an alarm on your phone each day at 6 o'clock, and when that alarm goes off, that is it, you stop. Or maybe even 10 to 6 so that you know you've got those last 10 minutes, you know, to get things done and move on. maybe your partner could come in, knock on the door, or bleep you on the WhatsApp and say, hey, 10 minutes to go, and just remind you, maybe find the humor in that and, the connection in that together. But I'm going to say the answer to this is boundaries and getting tough. Okay, guys, the final question. I worry about the things like getting ill or my family getting ill, and I feel that this really holds me back from feeling happy in my life. Can you help me with this? Okay, so worrying about things that haven't happened yet is the fastest way to being miserable. I'm just going to repeat that, guys. Worrying about the things that haven't happened yet, like catastrophizing in your mind, fastest way to misery. So instead, what I'm going to say is to practice your thinking. In other words, look for better thoughts that feel stronger and happier for you. So focusing your thoughts on negative things when they haven't even happened yet is not going to help you feel better, right? You are in control of your thinking, and it's really important to find different thoughts that feel really good. And although you can't control the future, you can control your minds, and you can do things to help alleviate your concerns, okay? So first of all, don't forget thinking. Also, taking up a life insurance policy, Vitality Life understand that, worrying about these things can really stop people from living their lives, which is why life insurance offering, really helps protect what matters most to you. It does. And, I'll leave the details again down on the comments box, but think about that too. It's definitely worth going through all of that and reading it. So, guys, I'm really looking forward to answering the rest of your questions in the comments box today. And, watch out for my answers. I'm going to be there, typing away. And, I want to say thanks, guys. Really, thanks again from Vitality and me. We both wish you the very best of luck, success and happiness in securing the future that you want. And I'm just going to remind you guys, you can do it. You've got this. Strong mind.